Hello, welcome to my Cancer Chronicles. Today I am chronicling about that time recently that I had to go for an emergency CT angio and I was having troubles with a troublesome PICC, and sadly I also have been to another funeral of a dear friend who was battling cancer, so all of that is in the video ahead. But I start walking through the halls, which I'm now wondering if they are somewhat familiar because I am often taking you along with me as I wander through these hospital corridors. And yes, so I am off to book in a CT angio because I should tell you the first part of it. I had gone in to get my PICC changed, but I hadn't been feeling very well, and I was waiting in the waiting room, waved to a nurse there, saw him later on, which I talk about. But I went in and I was just telling them how I'd been feeling and how I was a little bit worried about things, thinking that they would just ring my doctor and check. But the next thing, they sent me up to the doctor, and then my doctor said, no, we need to go and get an emergency CT angio and check what is going on. So that is what is happening in the next clips. Are these hospital halls familiar to you yet? I think this is the one to go down to Queensland X-ray. I was just editing while I was in the waiting room a video, and I was in this one and I was like, oh, I didn't realise, but that is the Toowoomba Town Hall. It's a lovely painting of it. I'm just going down to X-ray because you see that little lump there? That's normally what it swells up when I've got an SVC. So I've just gone and seen my oncologist. Whoops, it's sunny here. And he is sending me to get another CT angio. So I am paused in getting, I'm supposed to be up getting my PICC dressing done, but it's a bit red and I've got some antibiotics because of that. And then he wants me to get this CT angio done this afternoon, so I'll have to see if they can fit me in. Okay, they can't fit me in there because their machine's getting serviced, but I need to come back in 10 minutes or so. And in the meantime, I'm going to get my PICC. In the meantime, I walked out of Queensland X-ray and there was a nurse, like, oh, hi, Tony. And he's kind of looking at me because he'd just seen me in the waiting room, and I'm like trying to do a quick explanation of, I need a CT angio, but I'm just heading back to get my PICC dressing, and then I've got to come back and ask something, then I've got, well, I didn't tell him. And then I've got to go over to a different site, but thankfully, it's not the Queensland X-ray at another hospital. Well, not thankfully, because I know that there's a really good X-ray guy. Oh, I'm sitting here chatting to you. And I forgot. I'm like, this is not going anywhere. I forgot to press the button. So yes, the good thing is it should be free parking at the place I'm going to, as opposed to the other hospital. This morning, I woke up and I was just feeling not right and so tired. So I got up and I just thought, I'll just do something on the computer, so it's just low key. But then I'm like, I'm gonna go back to bed, which is very unlike me. So I did, and then got up to go into the hospital. Feeling better after having had that sleep. It's like, which way should I go? So yeah, I kind of know that things aren't 100% okay. I thought that my face might have been a bit swollen. I said to Alex, does it look it? I'm looking at the video now going, it doesn't look too bad. So anyway, hopefully if there is something going on, we'll catch it really early this time and we won't have that big swelling up like a balloon happening. So I was also supposed to go to Kingaroy tomorrow, go to my friend Rosie's funeral, I'm not sure whether I'm feeling up to it. Got his old school friend booked, ready to go. So we'll see. Another day, another waiting room. Just waiting for the CT. This is a new practice, so it's actually quite nice. So at that point, you can see I am busy editing this video. I've got my glasses on for the occasion now. So at that point in the video, I had the CT angio. I still had my PICC line in, so I just love the PICC line when I go to get scans, because it is just not a problem at all, because in Toowoomba they keep telling me that you can't use a port with a scan, particularly a PET scan, but I was told that you could, and when I've watched some videos of people in the US, they've definitely used it. And in fact, I went to Brisbane once and they said they could use it. So anyway, it's a bit of a bone of contention with me with using it, but in this particular case, no problems whatsoever. They just use my port and everybody's allowed to equipped to access it, whereas you need to get someone special to put a needle in and all the rest of it to use a port. So I really do love PICCs in hospital. They are so much easier to use than ports, but it is getting quite tiring always having to cover them up when you go in the shower. Going swimming is, well, hasn't really happened, but that time I went into the spa with my sisters, had to wrap it all up very tight. But yes, I am very happy to do that when I get into the hospitals. It makes life so much easier. Anyway, back to this video. I had got the CT angio, everything went smoothly, and then I went home, did whatever I did that night, and the next morning got the kids off to school. And then my friend Kylie, who has been my school friend since I was in grade 1, we actually started school in Mount Isa together, which is in far north Queensland, a mining town. Then we moved to Toowoomba together. Then we moved in high school. We both moved to Bundaberg. And then I moved back to Toowoomba, but she stayed in Bundaberg until just this year. She has moved to Toowoomba. So it's always lovely seeing Kylie every now and again. And I just asked Kylie if she would go on the drive out to Kingaroy to Rosie's funeral. We stopped in Crow's Nest on the way and ate at this beautiful little cafe that has been open a couple of years there now, called My Little Blueberry. And it's got this beautiful old-fashioned facade, and used to be an antique shop. I've got a China cabinet that I bought there, but now it's just a whole heap of lovely little shops. So we had a little wander there, but if I had known how busy Rosie's funeral was going to be, I think I would have hurried to Kingaroy a bit quicker. But anyway, here is Kylie and I at the Little Blueberry eating a very delectable morsel. We are stopped in Crow's Nest with Kylie, having, Kylie, do you remember what it's called? No. Blueberry cake or something. Right, we are just at the Kingaroy Shopping Centre, which is the only place we could find a park.
And toilet.
Yeah, did the toilet. Kylie has come with me for the drive today, which has been great that I had someone to chat to the whole way. We went to Rosie's funeral and Kylie didn't even know Rosie.
No, I know her well now.
Yeah. Know that she's an amazing woman who has lots and lots of friends.
Yes.
It was standing room only. We arrived 10 minutes early and we were standing the whole time up the back of the Kingaroy Town Hall.
Yeah.
So how many people do you reckon were there?
600 easy.
Yeah.
Or more.
There was a lot of people. Which just goes to show how it made sense to me. Rosie would always say, oh, if I go home to Kingaroy, like you can't go anywhere, everybody knows you. And I'm like, yeah, it seemed like half of Kingaroy was there. But yeah, it was tribute to a really
Everywhere
lovely
else,
woman.
when we drove in, I said, this is a sleepy town. That's because they were all at the funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it was very obvious that she's very loved, which made sense because I found her very lovable very quickly. But now we've got to go home. I've just got a message from my doctor who's telling me to go straight to the hospital and get my PICC pulled out. So he was like, where are you? I'm like, Kingaroy. And he's like, okay. So we'll do that now and chatter the whole way home. Okay, the PICC line is out, which means I don't have to put a plastic bag over my arm to shower. Although I do need to keep that bandage on because I have blood thinners. It was bleeding a bit, so I need to keep the bandage on for another 2 hours. Oh, I can't see what time it is. Anyway, I'm sure I won't go to bed in the next 2 hours. So that was quite painless and semi-pain. That was quite painless. And I had a super friendly nurse, and it was kind of nice, even though it was a little bit sad. Like I said, as I was going into the hospital, I was thinking, oh, the last time I went in through these doors, it was to visit Rosie, and I walked out through the doors with her because somebody was picking her up. And then I went to a funeral, and then I remembered, oh, the ward that I went to get this out had Rosie there for about 6 weeks. So they said, what were you doing today? And I was like, do you know Rosie? And the nurse did, and had heard that she'd passed away. So she knew her, and so was interested to hear about the funeral. So that was kind of nice to have that connection. And yeah, had to go down to a ward. It's funny because you go, if you need a bed in a hospital, they can't find you beds, but there's 2 empty wards here at this private hospital, but it's not empty because they don't have the beds. It's empty because they don't have the staff to look after the people in the beds, which is pretty sad. Anyway, yep, so I went into an empty ward because I just had to get that thing pulled out. I had to do it. It had to be sterile, and you've got to know what you're doing, but it's pretty quick when you do know what you're doing. So that's all out. Kids are all going off to youth. They were getting their own dinner when I came home. Quickly ran in, said hello to them, and then went out. So yeah, I think I'll go home to a quiet house with just Alex and I, which will be nice after such a big day. Kylie was going home to her son. I felt bad that, yeah, she stood up for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours at somebody's funeral that she didn't know. She's such a good friend, and always is somebody who will help out. I'm glad that my feet are okay because I was really nervous. Standing up for that length of time with neuropathy, they can really scream with pain, and my whole legs were aching by the end. But luckily I could just, I just kept on lifting my feet up and rotating. I was wiggling the whole time. So the people around me were probably thinking, what the heck is this woman doing? But I know if I move my feet, I've worked out if I move my feet more, the neuropathy hurts less. Because even though I've got the pins and needles, when I'm standing on them for a length of time, particularly my right foot just starts burning and hurting so badly. So anyway, I've got out of that okay, but I think it's time to just have a little bit of a relax. That was so nice, having a shower without, normally I have that, it's got an elastic at the bottom and top around my arm. It was so nice, and it's not too soon. I'm starting to get burnt, and and red marks where all the band-aids have been for months and months. So I think it's just as well. I have got it off and my skin can get a bit of a break. So I'll put something on that tonight and see what it's like in the morning. What do you think of my hair? Slowly growing back. After going home, having that shower, which was just lovely, not having the plastic bag and everything around and needing to keep the PICC dry, the next day I was very surprised to feel so much better and to feel that much more energy. And I realized why. My doctor had said, "Where are you? You're in Kingaroy. Okay, how long is that going to take? Right, I want you to drive straight home from Kingaroy to the hospital and get that PICC taken out." And I can realize why. It really must have been on the start of being infected, which is why I'd been feeling sick for a few days. So I think he'd taken all of that into account. Okay, sorry. Different outfit because this is a different day. Last night I was editing the video away and had it all ready to go to upload, and my iPhone is just refusing to save it so that I can upload it to YouTube. So I had to cut a chunk out. So I'm just bridging the gap here and just saying that from that time of getting the PICC taken out, had a few days, deleted those few days, and went to my ABC group, and we had a little bit of a memoriam for Rosie and Liz. So that's what I've gone on to talking about. Oh, but in the meantime, if you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe. I watch every person that subscribes and it gets me very excited. So please do subscribe and follow along with my Cancer Chronicles. I really appreciate having the interest and the support out there. Click the like button as well to show your support. Really love it. Thanks. Bye. To that group, I'd met Rosie in the chemo chair. One day she was a patient next to me. I started chatting to her. It became obvious that it was her very first chemo. I was just chatting and told Rosie some of my experiences and little bits and pieces of advice, and she just seemed to really value that, which I don't know, it was just, anyway, at the same time I just valued talking to her. She was just really easy to talk to. But I mentioned the ABC group, knowing that she had breast cancer, so she was most likely to have been told about it, which she had been, and she said she wasn't going to go to it, but since she knew me, she might come along, which was kind of similar to the way I felt when I first came. I knew Liz, and so that probably motivated me to go along to it, whereas Liz, who was quite the extrovert, was more than happy to go along of her own accord. Because Rosie was going to the ABC group, I got to know her a bit better, or a lot better, and I'd often text her in between times. I feel like saying that we caught up for coffee, but I think we had plans to catch up for coffee. Well, one time I almost went out for coffee with her and Liz, but just Rosie and Liz ended up going because I ended up in emergency at hospital. So I was really, I think I was upset more than anything about being in hospital, was missing out on coffee with Rosie and Liz. Just really loved Rosie and had a lot of messages back and forward together. So she was a special person. Anyway, at the ABC group that particular week, we had decided, there was actually a third woman also who had recently passed away. So we had, everybody brought a flower and a candle and lit that in honor and memory of those three women who had been in our group, and just had a time of reflection, and our psychologist led us in a mindfulness activity, and it was just a nice point of memory of what those women had meant to each of us individually in our lives and sharing the journey with us. So that's the way that we're going to end the video, just looking at those candles, the ABC group, and a picture of Rosie and my friend Liz at hospice together with myself. That was the last time we were all together. And yeah, I can't believe that I'm the only one left from that particular photo. Just very thankful that those two women have been in my life, and yeah, they are now in a better place. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video.